Listen to this exchange between the Joe Biden judicial nominee and Senator John Kennedy. Now listen to how Kennedy dismantles the wannabe judge by calling her out for having no clue what an assault weapon is, even though she herself signed off on a brief aimed at banning the gun that she doesn't even know how to define.
You said, quote, assault weapons may be banned because they're extraordinarily dangerous and are not appropriate for legitimate self-defense purposes, close quote. Tell me what you meant by assault weapons.
Just to clarify there, I was local counsel. Our Supreme...
Yeah, but you wrote the brief. Tell me what you meant by assault weapons.
Senator Kennedy, actually, I did not write the brief. The brief was written by...
You signed the brief, though, didn't you?
Correct. I signed the brief.
When you sign a brief, you're testifying to the court that everything in it is true, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So
they're your words in terms of the court, right?
Well, you're correct, Senator Kennedy.
Okay.
I would never
Tell me what you meant by assault weapons.
So I am not a gun expert.
Oh, my goodness. I will point out that Senator Kennedy is a lawyer. That man, Louisiana Senator John Kennedy, joins me now for a rare but awesome Newsmax interview. Senator, welcome to The Balance. Great to have you, sir. So how about these lefties flooding the country with unvetted illegals, at the same time putting a full court press on to take our Second Amendment rights away? Your thoughts?
Well, Eric, a couple of weeks ago, President Biden gave a State of the Union address. He could have saved his breath and not wasted the American people's time. The State of the Union can be seen very clearly at the grocery store and at the southern border. The southern border is an open, bleeding wound. President Biden has invited into our country, since he's been president, I think about 8.6 million people. That's 4 Nebraskas. And we do not have the slightest idea, not the slightest idea, who they are. Now, there are one or two things going on, Eric. You don't have to be an astrophysicist to figure this out. Either the person that President Biden has put in charge of the border is not qualified to manage a hamburger stand, or President Biden believes in open borders. I think it's the latter. Nobody's this incompetent. The Biden administration believes in open borders, and he thinks that vetting people at the border is racist. It's not racist. It's prudent. Every country in the world does it.
You know, Senator, I watched that back and forth with you and that wannabe judge. First of all, did you torpedo her judgeship? Is that off the table, or is she actually I mean, for someone, you're a lawyer, for someone not a judge, not to understand if you sign a document, doesn't matter who produced it, you're attesting to its validity and your own belief in it, right?
Well, she should, yes, and she should be torpedoed. That doesn't mean she will be. Most of my Democratic colleagues who are paying attention understand that some, you might even say many, of President Biden's appointees, they're not qualified to judge a pie contest. Now, that doesn't mean they're going to vote against them, because Senator Schumer has a tight control over the Democrats in the Senate. If Senator Schumer told his Democratic senators to join the Taliban, they'd say, where's the line, Chuck? We'll do whatever you say. But the lady that you're referencing is not qualified to be on the Court of Appeal. She has the worst record in her circuit for deciding cases in a timely manner. She's an ideologue first and a lawyer second. She actually testified today that when she was in private practice, she voluntarily filed a brief in court to get rid of assault weapons. But when I asked her what's an assault weapon, she said, I don't know.
I don't know, yeah.
I mean, it takes your breath away.
You know what took my breath away, Senator? Also in Illinois, what's going on with the judicial system in Illinois? Illinois District Judge Sharon Johnson Coleman, get this, an Obama appointee, by the way, has ruled a federal ban on undocumented immigrants owning firearms is unconstitutional. In other words, she's putting firearms in illegal. Meanwhile, the rest of the left is trying to pull firearms away from people, protecting ourselves against this inflow of illegals and the crime that's following them.
Foreign nationals who are in our country illegally are not Americans, and they do not have the same rights as Americans. They do not have the right to own a firearm. In my opinion, they do not have the right that Americans have, for example, in terms of search and seizure. They're in our country illegally. I'm not saying they're bad people. I'm just saying that illegal immigration is illegal. Duh. And most Americans understand that. If you're trying to abide by our laws, our immigration laws under President Biden, and you're filling out the forms and being vetted and waiting in line patiently, you're a chump. That's the message that Joe Biden has sent. All you got to do is go hire a cartel, give them a few $1,000s, take you to the border, and you swim across and jump the fence. Who's going to wait in line patiently when they can do that? I mean, and look, this border crisis is man-made, and the man's name is Joe Biden.